Tonight,
Hello, YouTube. SkepticalRoot. Now, I'm not at a loss for topics today. I've got my list still that I'm working off of. I need to expand this, rewrite this, expand it, put it in some better format than a yellow post-it note that has lots of scribbles on it. So, today I'm going to talk about another one of the 20 arguments for the existence of God. Yeah, this is the second recording, and I stumbled on existence the first time I did this video too. So far we've done Kalam, we've done Pascal's wager, we've done the aesthetic experience argument, and we've done the moral argument. All ones that I've heard before. We've also got design, efficient causality, time and contingency, degree of perfection, contingency. The world is an interacting whole. I think I've heard allusions to, but not actually heard in an argument before. Miracles, consciousness, truth, ontological argument, conscience, desire, religious experience, and common consent arguments. But the one I'm doing today is one that I have literally never heard, because it just doesn't. Maybe it's just me. It just doesn't make sense. I kind of get what they're trying to go with here, but there's probably a reason why I've never heard it before, and that is the argument from change. Now, to give you a brief rundown here, the conclusion here is briefly: if there is nothing outside the material universe, then there is nothing that can cause the universe to change. But it does change, therefore there must be something in addition to the material universe. But the universe is the sum of the total of all matter, space, and time. These three things depend on each other, therefore this being outside the universe is outside matter, space, and time. It is not a changing thing, it is unchanging, and it is the source of change. This is their reasoning, because as they are claiming here, two things. One, first off, things can't change themselves, and things that change eventually become something in total, but there's no way to know exactly what that total is before it has become that total thing. First off, things don't ever stop changing from initial inception of whatever process by which we are calling something a thing until we no longer call it a thing. Nothing stays the same. Everything changes. Everything, the degree of things that change, I should say, the degree or the rate at which things change can be very slow. For example, diamonds breaking down into graphite is a very, very slow process. Graphite breaking down into simpler carbon atoms is an even longer process. As far as we know, like, for example, I believe they have done an experiment to find that electrons they cannot show any decay at up to below something like some ridiculous number, like 15 times the length of the known, or the length of the existence of the known universe, or something like that. So however they figured that out, that there's no electron decay in that period of time, I don't know. I do remember reading a story about it not that long ago. So I don't remember. It was some kind of ridiculously large number. I'm not about to Google it right now, because then I just sit here and I'm going to Google this right now. But even that probably at some point changes. I mean, electrons can change state, from what I understand. So that's still a change. Things still happen. Any living organism certainly has a point at which we, when we no longer call, the molecules of chocolate that I ate It may become converted into its baser elements and then reabsorbed and then turned into sperm that then becomes half the genetic material for a child. At some point, we have conception and then birth, and then we call that thing a human, and then that thing grows up and matures, but it never stops changing. It never gets to a point where we say, at 25, you're done. Man, I would have loved to have stopped at 25, but nope. A bit older than that now, mid 40s. But I'm going to keep getting older, and I'm going to keep changing, and things are going to keep changing no matter what I do. So, and I can certainly be an agent for change. I can decide what I eat. I can decide where I go. I can decide if I'm going to drink a beer or go swim in, toxic sewage, or whether I'm going to eat a cheeseburger, or whether I'm going to, poop in the outhouse or poop in the bathroom. I mean, I can make those decisions. I can pick things and influence my change and how things go. So this, I could also, if I felt like it, I could chop my arm off. Certainly a change in an organism, or I could end my existence, which again would be a change in me changing myself. But other things can change themselves too. They may lack agency, but mountains, for example, if they're continuing to uplift, they're going to experience stresses and whatever from this exact process that's pushing tectonic plates together and forcing them up like this, can cause bits of the rock to break away, and gravity will pull them down to the bottom, the base of the mountains, or lower down. Gravity being part of the environment. But the uplifting mountains themselves are what are causing change to themselves. Again, lacking agency, it's still something in the universe changing itself. Those are the ends of the plates pushing together and forcing up. More often it's one plate over the other one, but sometimes they push together. But that is the plates themselves causing change. It's a rather large scale thing, but any living organism can make these changes, they do change themselves. Our cells themselves replicate through a process that they do to themselves. They don't do it to somebody else. So this idea that we need some agent outside of the universe or outside of ourselves in order to initiate change is just patently wrong. Outside the changing things are also changing. Art movers. Its movers also moving, and if so, all of them stand the need to never act on things. So they're saying that the things can't change themselves. Nothing changes itself. Apparently, self-moving things like animal bodies are moving by desire or will, something other than mere molecules, which frankly isn't true. Consciousness, desire, and will are all processes. They are not things. Baseball is a process. You can play baseball. It is a game. It is a process. When you're not playing baseball, where does baseball go? When you're looking at a lit candle and you snuff it out, where does the fire go? When a person dies, where does the consciousness go? Where does the will go, the desire go? Well, as far as we can tell, it's a lot like baseball. When there's no baseball, nobody's playing baseball, when there's no activity of consciousness going on in your brain, then consciousness just isn't there. It's done. Just like when you're not playing baseball, just like when you snuff out a flame, it's a process. So that process is part of the self-identity, if you will. But it is not Like, this is saying that animal bodies are moved by a desire or a will. If cockroaches have a desire or a will, do cockroaches then have souls of some kind that need to go to heaven? There are cockroaches in heaven. Is that what I'm learning here? Says when the animal or human dies, the molecules remain, but the body no longer moves because its desire or will is no longer present to move it. That's because chemical processes have stopped happening. It's not because, the molecules are still there, but they're no longer interacting. Much like if you pour baking soda and vinegar together in a jar, at some point they will stop fizzing because they'll cancel off enough of the hydride with the acid, the hydride and hydroxide. I don't know what that is. Anyway, the H pluses will cancel out the OH minuses, and that'll be it. No more reactants. That's what happens when you die. The chemical processes are done. All the molecules are still there. All the things that were there, relatively speaking, you lose things for that evaporation and erosion and things like that. They're still there, but the processes that make us alive are gone. They've stopped. And the processes that keep us alive have stopped. That keep our cells from decaying have stopped as well. And then the rest of us dies. Over the course of months, perhaps, all those cells break down into components that are eaten by bugs or something. And we are no more. We return to the stars, figuratively, because we're all star stuff, as Carl Sagan once said. So that's it. Argument from Change. One of my shorter videos. It was just not really an argument. So I actually feel like I dragged this out a little bit longer than I had to. So thanks everyone for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I will do more of these. I've got 15 more on the list that I went through earlier. This is number 5. Argument from Change. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I know I asked that already. No, I know I said that already. But now I'm asking. Go ahead. Share this with somebody. This is an actual argument that a Christian, Peter Kreeft, author of, I believe his website says something like 75 books, published and considers a valid argument for the existence of God. I feel like a 7-year-old could debunk that. Maybe not. Maybe they'd have to be 11 first. That's it, everyone. Thanks. Goodbye and hello, as always.
It doesn't.